Hey Home Church, welcome to Home Groups this week. A little bit of a different start for you. I got a really nice surprise today when I had some dear friends pop by church to visit me. This is Svetlana and Malcolm. We've been friends for quite a few years now, and the guys have been visiting our church over that period of time. For those of you that have been in our church for a while, since after COVID, which I'm aware is probably a very small amount of you, but for those that don't know, when the war started in Ukraine, we kind of tried to do what we could do to help over there, and these were the guys that we partnered with to help, and they've really been on the front lines helping with the Ukrainian soldiers and refugees and things for the entire war. Svetlana herself is Ukrainian, and you were one of the first people to flee, or the last plane out, or something like that, when it all started.
First to come out.
First to come out, and the rest of the time she's been helping with all of the work going on in Ukraine. And Malcolm is a Brit, but he's lived in Poland for a very, very long time, and he runs an organisation called Central Eurasian Partners, who we as a church have been very grateful to partner with over the years. So when they came to say hello today, I thought it would be really good for us as a church just to get an update on what's happening over there before we get stuck into tonight's Bible study. So guys, thank you so much first of all for coming to see us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Do you want to give us, like over here, we're not getting as many updates anymore as to what's happening. You guys are obviously, you're in and out Ukraine, front line and back, so you know what's going on, and we don't. So to give us an idea even, what to be praying for and what's actually still happening in Ukraine, could you do that?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for privilege to be with you. And the war is still going on, and it's not less than it was in the beginning when the news was full of different things. And we still have missiles attacks, and probably worse than we had before, but we also continue work, and we changed our focus to frontline areas close to the front line. And we have travel teams who travel regularly, bringing aid, supporting a relationship with people, and also bringing Christ and gospel. And we ourselves, we join the teams from time to time, 2-3 times a year, to support them, to encourage them, to see the work that has been done, and to update our partners here in the UK. So our last trip was in April, and we go with chaplains, with other people, volunteers. We visit hospitals, we visit soldiers, we visit churches at the front line, bringing aid and preaching Christ.
Wow, which is incredible. And Malcolm, since the start of the war, I was just so impressed by what you did. I visited your home within months of the war starting to find people sleeping in cupboards. There was so many people all over your house. Like, I think you had 25 families at one stage in your home.
26 people.
26 people in your home, along with your son. We kind of got involved with trying to help get other houses. There was just people staying everywhere. Hundreds of families and relief shelters and all sorts of stuff you were doing, but your work has continued throughout the war for the last several years, alongside all the other things that you're doing through your ministry. Do you want to share a wee bit about where things have been at for you?
Yeah, I think we had a flood of refugees 3 years ago. Many of them came through our house. We built houses for them, and we accommodated them, helped them get accommodated in Germany and then in Britain and the US. But after a while, I started to think, what is the most strategic thing we can do? And when we think about refugees, if you think about the young men who come on the dinghies across the English Channel, most of those in the dinghies are young 20, 30-year-old men. We don't see too many women. There aren't many old people, children, handicapped. And they're the people who really need the most help. The guys who come over here in the prime years of their life, they've got a lot to going for them, and churches and the government in Western countries help them a lot. So we figured we'd try and reach out to the most needy people, who are the people on the front line or close to the front line, both civilians and soldiers. And we recognize we need to help the soldiers. They are people. They need food. They need encouragement. They need medicine. They have all the basic needs that people have. The fact that they're soldiers doesn't change that. So our desire has been over the last 18 months to concentrate not on the refugees who come out to the west, but to concentrate on what's going on on the Eastern Front, which involves us taking in vans, taking in medical supplies, taking in equipment, generators, power stations, you name it, the things that people there on the front line need. And we go in providing physical needs, but also spiritual. And the thing that probably is the most important for me these last 18 months, after a while I thought, what did Jesus do? Not what would Jesus do, but what did he do? And I recognized that Jesus' concentration was not on the weak. He did help the weak. So there's tons of weak people in Ukraine right now who are needing a lot of help. The old ladies who've had a bomb through their roof, they need a lot of help. They're what I would call the weak people. But Jesus wasn't consumed by the weak. He did help them, but that wasn't his focus. He also wasn't focused on what I would call the strong, self-absorbed people who had their problems, but they were quite self-sufficient. So the people coming out and going to California and going to Canada and Britain and so on, they tend to be like the young guys on the boats. They're the most able, strong, if I can use that word, and they don't need so much help. But the people who Jesus focused on, I don't think he focused on those people so much, the people who thought that they could manage by themselves without God. The people he seemed to focus on, in my understanding of Jesus' ministry, is what I call the servant strong. So people who are able to rise above their own trauma, their own loss, their own problems. They've lost homes, they've lost family members, they've lost friends, but they look beyond themselves to help out in society, meeting the needs of society, both spiritual and physical. And so in the last 18 months, we've really been focusing on key people, workers in the harvest who are having a ministry, not just consumed by their own needs, but reaching out to that one becomes 1,000. They're helping tons of people right there on the spot, living there, and there are some people doing that. They're strategically living in these frontline towns to reach out with the gospel to people in their town. So our focus is on them, helping them, facilitating them, asking them what needs they have, and then hopefully they will multiply whatever we bring to them by helping those who are weak around them. So we have, for instance, one guy who came out of what is now occupied territory. He came into Western Ukraine. He went to church, and after a while he thought, why am I sitting at church here? I should be back over there. So he moved back east with his wife, and they moved to a town called Izum, which is close to the border right now, close to the front line. And they have started a church there. They've got over 100 people come on their Sunday services. They've got very, very limited resources, and those are the sort of people we're trying to strengthen.
That's brilliant. So you're talking a lot there about strategic ministry, which is actually a really cool thing. Funnily enough, as I was teaching in here this morning, this is recorded yesterday, as I'm teaching in here this morning, I was saying often faith is strategic. So we've got faith for God to do something, but we can seek him for the strategy of what to do. So in terms of people watching that are thinking like strategically, how can you best be supported or help you guys? What would your advice be for that?
Well, it's difficult to say concrete things, but I think there are a few things that you can ask yourself, what can I do? Maybe I can pray, and that's the only thing I can do. Maybe I can come out. Maybe I can give. Maybe I can give to one tourniquet, which is a medical thing that stops bleeding. Maybe I can support somebody on a regular basis. Maybe I can help Ukrainian families in here, just inviting them home for a meal and support them and build a relationship and bring them to Christ. So there are many ways how you can support, and you can pray for us. And for those people who travel, they need lots of encouragement, because they are the ones who face death and devastation, and it's not over. like when we have some disaster, it's over, we mourn and we move on. And here it's happening, and we don't see an end to end. And they also need lots of prayer and encouragement. You want to add something?
Yeah, I would add something. I think if everybody does their little bit, whatever that is, that will make a difference. But a guy who was born in our city was called Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and one or two of you may have heard of him. He was a Protestant pastor in Germany, and he came up, after a while, he came to the conclusion, in the Second World War this is, that somebody needed to kill Hitler. And so he joined in a group of people who were aiming to kill Hitler. And he didn't succeed, he was eventually killed. But he had moved in that direction in his thinking because he asked the question, what is the church's role and what is the church's legacy in this war? How will people look back on how the church was helping when the war is over and people have time to gather their thoughts? And one thing I've seen as we've gone around churches in Britain is sometimes people will say, well, we send shoe boxes, and our church, and you know, what do you put in shoe boxes? Well, a teddy bear, some sweets, and so the shoe boxes go to the front line, and a 5-year-old girl opens this box and has delight in her eyes when she sees this, and that's good. But I ask the question, is that what we are going to be known as a Christian church? That in the war we were supplying teddy bears and sweets, and I think that's good, but I think we can do better than that. And I ask the question to people, okay, so you got the little smile on the little girl's face. What does she really want? What would bring a bigger smile to her face? And the answer, I think, is if her dad walked through the door coming back from the front line and gave her a big hug and said, I love you, honey, I'm home. That would bring to her joy, lasting joy and deep joy. And so I think my challenge is, our challenge is, what is the legacy that we're going to leave behind ourselves in terms of our involvement or lack of involvement in the war that's developing in our continent.
And you mentioned, Svetlana, like the possibility, even if folks coming to help, it is true that if anyone watching actually wanted to come and spend a bit of time, there's things they could come and do and support you guys and work alongside you guys. That's a possibility.
Well, it is a possibility depending how ambitious you are, because some Western people, they want to get an insurance to get to Ukraine, which you won't. Do not look for it. So if you come at your own risk, but if you come, you can join some projects. Obviously, it will be you will need an interpreter if you don't speak Ukrainian. But there is also a good opportunity to come out to Poland for camps. We have camps, and we welcome volunteers every summer to lead English classes for Polish children, so which is a great opportunity to be sort of close to the east. And there is a number of Ukrainian children also at the camp, which gives you a bit of connection. So that's opportunity right there.
So obviously people can pray, people can visit, people can also give to you guys financially to help with what you're doing. How would people go about doing that?
We have website, Central Eurasian Partners, with all the details, and we also left some leaflets with you. So just grab one from Dave.
Yeah, we'll have some leaflets in church for anyone that
or
wants one.
Google Central Eurasian Partners, and
Great.
you have all the information there.
Brilliant. Well, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. The guys are going to visit us properly in March, so we're not 100% sure what that will look like yet, but there will be a service in March where we'll get to chat to the guys in greater detail. But I wanted you guys to get a chance to get a quick update, because as I say, we've been partnering with these guys for a number of years and will continue to do so. So if anyone watching wants to support in any way, please reach out to me or Google Central Eurasian Partners.
Yeah, Central Eurasian Partners.
Central Eurasian Partners, and we'll get that sorted out. So thank you guys, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
guys.
Hi,
Thank
good
you
evening,
very
Home Church. Hope that was beneficial. Hearing a word from a few of my friends from Ukraine. I spent a lot of time with them last night, and it's just kind of scary what's still going on there. We don't hear about it anymore, but actually the war is in the worst state it's ever been. So keep upholding those guys in prayer. If you want to know how you can connect with them or support in any way, then you can reach out to me. I hope you're enjoying the home groups, week number 3. Obviously, things are a work in progress. The plan was to get these a kind of 4-week block and then kind of debrief. I don't think I'm looking at the camera. And then debrief and see like what we can do better, what we can learn. And we want to do that. So I understand last week there was far too many questions. I wanted to make sure conversation flowed, but obviously went a little bit too gung-ho. So my apologies for that. It's been quite different this week, and I've limited it down to sort of a 5 points and 5 questions. 5 questions and the 5 points, but they're much smaller. So I'm hoping that's going to be okay. Now I've sent the outline of this out to the group leaders, so I'm not going to say a massive amount on it. I thought Sunday was absolutely incredible. It's the largest attended day of church home church has ever had, including Easter Sunday. So it's been incredible just to see how God's been moving in our church, and we really believe that these home groups are a massive part of God's strategy. Interesting as we look at the story of Moses and Moses' parents and their faith, there was strategy linked to the faith, and we believe that God's got a massive plan for our church, plans to prosper us, massive plans for growth, for national impact. We believe that, and God gives us strategy to allow that to happen, and we believe a massive part of that strategy, still coughing, is the home group. So we're delighted you're in them. Please feed back what you have, and we'll continue to we'll continue to try and improve. But we know that people have been really blessed by them already, and we're blessed by the numbers that have been attending. We've deliberately made the groups smaller so that they can grow. A massive part of the heart behind the home groups is that you can invite people to your home, which can be a lot less threatening than walking into a church by yourself for the first time. So the groups are small on purpose, so please do invite people along, spread the word of Jesus, and let's make a massive impact. There's a couple of things been emailed out to the church this week. There's some support that we're needing in church, and we're hoping people can folk that have maybe got a day a week or something to volunteer can help us, and if we can get a number of those volunteers, it's really going to help us. The church, again, we've grown further and faster than what we thought, and with that we need new structures and new systems in place, and an awful lot of help with admin, things for like home radio, things for the church, for the community hub. There's so much happening. So ultimately, if you have some time that you think you could give to church to help us, we would love to bring you into our staff team, if you like, on a voluntary basis to help us pull things together. So if you have time and you'd like to do that, then please do reach out to me. We're looking really just at 5 key points tonight. We're looking at God's sovereignty amid opposition. We talked about on Sunday how when Christians are oppressed, the church grows. God's plans grow, nothing can stand against his plans, which is a really wonderful thought. We looked at how it's wise to fear God, but not wise to fear man above God. So there's a discussion question in that about how faith and strategy go hand in hand, about how God can turn weapons used against us for his purposes and his glory. And a consistent theme over the past few weeks has been God's ability to turn things that were meant for evil into something good. So we continue in that basis tonight, and just talk about courage leading to blessing. I really want us to be a courageous church. We have been actually, you've been wonderfully supportive and wonderfully encouraging as we've taken steps of faith and steps of courage, but I believe there's more ahead. I believe the best is yet to come. So there's going to be more steps of courage and steps of faith needed. So let's build each other up in courage and strength for what lies ahead. Anyway, the home group questions are with your home group leaders, so I'm not going to rehash them all tonight. Thank you for being in these groups. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're not in a home group yet, there are many across the central belt of Scotland. You're probably closer to one than you think. So please reach out to us, and we would love to connect you. And guys, enjoy the fellowship, enjoy time together, and have a great time in the Word of God this evening. I'll see you all on Sunday. Bless you.